Okay, welcome to So You Want to Launch Online Classes. The first 5 things you must master. I'm April Beach. Welcome to this training. And you are here because you either have courses that you want to launch or you are considering creating courses that you would like to host within your business. Either way, you are definitely in the right place. Go ahead and slide the slide up and dive right into it. The 5 things that you will learn from this training. So you can wrap your head around this and you know what the expectations and the outcomes are going to be. Number 1, the steps to host live and evergreen webinars. You are also going to see the flow, the client flow from registration to the webinar end. You are going to know which is best for you. And this is, in my opinion, the most important outcome of this training, to know whether or not you want to deliver your courses as live courses, as evergreen, and we'll talk about what that is, or as a hybrid combination of the two of those. And that decision is something that you really need to make before you move forward into anything as far as building or spending money or time or resources in developing your courses. Number 4, the best software for your goals and your skills and your budget. And number 5, the role of courses in your perfect business model. We are also going to talk about membership sites and private coaching with online courses. So that's just kind of a bonus I threw in here. I felt like it was really important to address that, so there will be some bonus time talking about membership sites. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. First question is, what will your course be about, your first course? And the reason why I want you to be thinking about this is because you probably have an idea of numerous courses that you want to launch. And so in order to simplify what's going on in your head and what's going on in your business planning and your weekly and monthly and quarterly business goals of what you're going to accomplish, I really want you to figure out what your very first course or training is going to be on and about. And that's going to help you have the clarity to accomplish one thing at a time, so you're actually going to move forward and actually launch your course. Prerequisites to launching any sort of online course is actually developing the class itself. So many people put it out there that they're going to launch online courses or they're going to launch group training sessions, and they haven't actually taken the time to build the curriculum to do that, and they have gotten into a lot of trouble. Some really good friends of mine that are very well accomplished business strategists and business coaches have actually done this as well. And it is super duper stressful. You don't ever want to broadcast that you're going to launch a course or you're going to host a course on a certain date if your course actually isn't done. So for your own quality of life and sanity, and in order to really deliver a good high quality product, please make sure that your course is finished. I will say, while we're talking about this subject, there is a theory out there from one of my business mentors, who I love, who says that he actually goes and sells a whole entire course first and then he builds it. But the deal is, because he wants to test it, he wants to test the market. Creating a course is going to take a really, really long time, and he doesn't want to take the time to develop a course if it isn't going to sell. However, he has a whole entire outline built of that. He knows exactly what he's going to talk about, exactly what he's going to deliver. He has to, in order to even go through the sales process. So the only thing he hasn't done is actually build out the slides and build out the curriculum. So, I do see value in that as well, but I want to make sure that you guys have your class and your curriculum, especially the first time you're launching an online course. Maybe if you're a seasoned pro and you have tons of online courses, then you can throw something up there and build the rest later. Also, you need to know your ideal clients. If you've ever worked with me before, you know I'm really big on ICA and making sure that your course is going to hit a specific need for a very specific client. Don't be afraid that other people won't buy it. I promise you they will, but it's incredibly important that you know who the course is for, instead of just for everybody or nobody will buy it and register for it. And you also should know how your course fits into your big business picture. I really feel like this is an incredibly important aspect, especially moving forward in today's entrepreneurial landscape, you just really have to ask yourself, do you want to have more online courses? What do you want your business model to be? Do you want to teach group courses to more people with having less face time? Do you prefer having one-on-one contact with your clients? You know, what does that really look like for you? So know how your course fits into your big business picture and the services that you already have. And you have to set yourself deadlines and due dates. I developed one course this year, and of course things happen in life, and I expected to have it done in 3 months' time, and it took me almost 9 months to do it, and that is just what happens. Online courses are a lot of work to actually build a curriculum and lay it all out, so you have to set deadlines and due dates for yourself, or you're never going to launch them. There's always something else that comes up, whether in the layout of your course itself, whether in your planning for your marketing and you're ramping up to sell your course, something always comes up. So just make sure you give yourself deadlines and due dates, and that will at least give you a good accountability for yourself to stick to those. So let's dive right in here. First thing I want you guys to know is the difference between live versus evergreen. Live webinars are those like some of you are on right now, because this is being recorded live. It will be recorded to be delivered later. So it's a great example of just using what we have right now. Live webinars are those that you go through this live setting and your clients are online, they're viewing the presentation, and in a lot of cases live webinars include either a live chat, and that can be, depending on the software and how you're delivering your live webinar, live chat can be through like a window that pops up on your screen. It can be through a different box and polls that you set out, and it can be also like a question and answer session after you deliver the information. Evergreen webinars are just like an evergreen tree. They stay on all the time. They're pre-recorded at an earlier date, and they're replayed for your clients. They can jump in there and attend them at their leisure. You can also do, and we'll dive into this a little bit more, you can also replay recorded webinars, and you can then come on there live after the webinar to deliver information to them as far as if anything needs to be updated or do questions and answers. But overall, what I want you to take away from this slide here is there's a difference between a live course and an evergreen course. And again, your takeaway today is deciding what how your first course is going to be delivered. Here are your different delivery options for live versus evergreen. Live, you can do the one-on-one delivery. So if you have a private client and you just want to take them through a class that they have purchased of yours, but you're not physically with them, you can use a live webinar for that setting. You can do group coaching and maybe do something where you have numerous clients come on every Friday morning and you do a mini group training or an actual class. You can also do live webinars membership-based, and that would be where you charge your clients a certain fee per month or per year, and they get a certain number of live online trainings from you. Usually those are part of a group. Membership-based is, they're joining in with a group. There really are very few private membership-based programs out there, and that's kind of just because that would just fall right back into one-on-one. You can record your live trainings to be delivered in Evergreen, and then you can use your live trainings to funnel to other programs. So what that means is you can do a live training that is free and deliver really great content and information, and then at the end of that live training, you can sell those attendees into paid programs. so many people want to come and hear from you and hear your expertise, and they want the information you're going to give them, and your live webinars basically can be an amazing lead magnet for a deeper program or service of yours. So it's just like showing up to teach a group class that might be free. Instead, you'd just be showing up to do a group coaching session, and then you'd be offering your services and selling your services at the end of that. Evergreen webinar options, again, one on demand. So this is great for that client, that private coaching client that you have, but you want them to have access to a certain amount of information each week, or a certain type of training each week or each month, or however you lay that out. As a paid client of yours, perhaps a paid in-person or one-on-one coaching client of yours, you can also then come in pre-record webinars and information that you want them to have, and they can access it at any point in time. This is a really big benefit to any sort of service-based business to be able to offer this, because everybody wants everything on demand. We all know that. So it's a good thing to consider, especially for information that you deliver over and over and over again to all of your clients. So if you're, a nutritionist and you go through a lesson about how to, clean out your pantry, and you go through that with every single one of your clients, then it would be a great idea to pre-record a training on that, and then just say, hey, this, you're going to get this training. It comes with coaching with me. Evergreen webinars can also be delivered through many different people on demand, so that group sort of type of an approach. So it's not just one-on-one. You can actually say, listen, this is being broadcasted or hosted at this particular time. People log in, they attend it, even though you aren't there. You were there, you recorded it earlier, and sometimes people can't even tell that you aren't there, depending on the software that you use. Again, membership-based, just like in the live webinars, the Evergreen webinars, membership-based would be where somebody logs into a portal on the back end of your website, and they pay to have access to numerous different trainings that they can attend. The nice thing about Evergreen is that it can either be always opened or limited availability. So you can choose when you broadcast them, and you can choose to close the door on Evergreen webinars at any point in time. So let's get into each one a little bit more in depth. And the reason why I really want you to have the slides from this is because I want you to be able to take notes on these. The most important thing I find when working with entrepreneurs is that we can go through all of these and I can lay out the difference and the benefits, but the most important thing, especially for female entrepreneurs, is that we can see the flow in our mind, that we know what's going to happen and we can imagine it, we can picture it in our mind. So I wanted to make sure that you guys had actual maps of what is the flow of each one of these different types of live versus evergreen delivery options. And you'll find that even though it might sound a little overwhelming as we're going through this and there's a lot of information, the two are very similar except for one step. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here is the flow of webinar delivery. This is very high level, but it's definitely enough so that you guys can understand and see what happens. First, we start in the upper left-hand corner, which entails you marketing your course or your training or your membership site, whatever it may be. And then when people want to attend it, they click on your registration page and either register for free or they can buy access to it. Then they will receive an email reminder or whatever email sequence that you have set up for them saying, hey, welcome to my training. I'm so glad you're coming. And the next thing will be either the delivery of the live webinar or access to the Evergreen event. So everything is exactly the same as you're planning from a business standpoint, the back end of everything that you need to do. Again, you're going to market it. You have to create a registration page, or one will come with your software. We'll get into that in a minute again. You're going to send them the email formula or email line-in sequence and just reminding them about the training, how to have access to the training, make sure that they're confident and they know how to access what they paid for or what they opted into. And the email reminder is a really important thing because that is when you already get to start building that relationship, particularly with new clients. And so holding their hand through the registration page and making sure that they know how to successfully get on your webinar is a very, very important thing, especially if you have a business that serves women. They really want for you to walk them through each phase. They don't want to deal with trying to figure out, especially technology. And then you host your event and you have a great event, whether you're on there live and you're talking to them, or whether you, pre-recorded the event, or whether they access your event on demand and you might not even realize it. You're not even there because everything has been set up. Okay, so we have this great event that happens and they totally love you and they want more of you. After that, then we have this follow-up sequence. And the next step would be where if you are selling a program after a webinar or upselling, so if your webinar is part of your product funnel, then you would either come on live after the webinar or send them an email or give them a follow-up phone call, and this is your time for your call to action. This is your time to sell them into larger programs or courses or membership or whatever it is that you have. If you aren't selling anything else, it's also really a great time to follow up with them anyway. How did you like the training? What could I have done better? What did you feel like that you loved the most? And this is when you get testimonies for your training. It's really important that you guys are gathering testimonies and what we call social proof. So use every opportunity that you have to do that. So whatever it is for you, whatever your call to action looks like, don't forget it. A lot of businesses come through and they mark it and they fill up their webinar and they host them, and then people, the attendees never hear from the people again. Don't miss the entire follow-up sequence. So you're going to have your call to action, whatever it may be, any sort of questions and answers, whether you do that through a Facebook group or whether you do it personally and you get on the phone with them, or you have a virtual assistant that can help you do that. That giving them an opportunity to make sure that they are heard after the training is really, really important. And then you might have a secondary follow-up where, okay, this is your last chance. Do you want to jump in my program? Do you want to purchase my services? Do you want to purchase my package? And at that point in time, after the follow-up, and I don't have it here on your map, but you would basically either just keep them on your list and continue to nurture them through communicating through blog posts or social media or email sequences, or it might be the end of the road. You might be breaking up with that client there, and that's totally fine too. It depends on what your business funnel looks like. So I want you guys to have this, and it's really important too that as we go back and we're really, really talking about live versus evergreen, and we jump into other parts of this training, that the only difference in the flow of how you take care of your clients is going to be in that red circle right there, in the live or the evergreen event. Now, how you, on a business standpoint, prepare for that event, that's really up to you. But I want you to see from the way the client is walking, the path the client is walking is really important for you to see from the front end, because sometimes we get totally lost in the back end and all we have to do in order to launch or deliver a product, and we don't see it from the stepping stones the client's going to take. So this is just an incredibly important slide, I think, just to simplify the process for you guys. Okay, so here we go. Steps to launch live webinars. And you're going to find, again, they're incredibly similar to Evergreen webinars. First, you're going to create your class and your graphics. Second, you're going to finish creating any other add-ons. This would be any downloads, cheat sheets, a workbook, whatever else you want to give with your class. You're going to finalize and practice your software. Practice is a really big part because software crashes all the time, especially if you're like me. I kill all software. And so it just will crash, just so you know. So make sure you know how to use it before you host your first event. You're going to set up your registration page, and I have a little $sign on here saying that you can pay more for this as optional. A lot of successful businesses use like a Leadpages or ClickFunnels. You don't have to use that, especially when you're getting started. But I will say they are a great way to fill up your webinars. Leadpages, we're not going to get into a whole lead page training, but it's basically, it's not even hosted by your website, but it is a one-page kind of scrolling all the way down. It gives you guys have been on them, gives you information, register here, and then testimonies and what you're going to achieve. And the purpose of the lead page is that there is nothing else on that page. Nobody's getting distracted by your social media icons or your about me or your pricing or your packages or anything else. The only purpose of that page is to get them to register for your class or your webinar. And so that's why companies choose these, because they're really simple and simple sells. So that is an option here to consider. Otherwise, whatever software you choose will have a registration option for you as well. There's just going to be some other noise, and you might have to manage that as far as what you want your client's experience to be when they first come to you. Number 5, you're going to pre-write your program email sequence. This is super duper important. So this means that before you even open up registrations for your courses, that you've already pre-written how many of our emails you choose. It can be one email to say, hey, welcome to my course. I saw that you registered. I'm so excited to talk to you. Or it can be 3 emails, depending on how long you have from the registration process until the course or the webinar is delivered. And it might be, okay, get ready for your training tomorrow, or to make the most out of this training, have a pad of paper, whatever it may be. It just gives you an opportunity to talk to your client. And I want to make sure that you have these all pre-written and pre-programmed in your email marketing sequence, whether that be MailChimp or Ontraport or Infusionsoft or ConvertKit or whatever you use. You should have these programmed to trigger. And as soon as somebody registers, it should actually automatically trigger and send them these emails. You don't have time to send them these emails, and you don't have time to be on top of wondering who is registered and when they got there and making sure they got this. This is an automatic trigger that you can set up through your registration page and through your email marketing sequence. The next thing you are going to do is you are also going to write your email follow-up sequence. So that would be the email sequence that goes out after somebody attends your course. And it could be, again, if we want to go back up to the slide, if you remember in your mind in the map, it could be selling them into a higher price product. It could be giving them an opportunity to connect with you for questions and answers or a free consultation. It could be, perhaps cross-selling and bringing them into another product that is similar price, whatever it may be. You want to write your email follow-up sequence and figure out what you're doing with these people. What journey are you taking them on now? So they've already attended your class. What happens next? If you have a course that lasts a while, so say your webinar or your course is more than one event, say you're hosting a course that lasts 6 weeks, you want to have an email sequence going out to keep everybody engaged during that time. So you also will then want to write an in-program email sequence. So you could have up to 3. So you have your onboarding email sequence of, once they've registered. You might have an in-program email sequence depending on how long it takes to get through your course. Again, the whole point of an in-program email sequence is to keep them engaged, excited, thankful that they took your course and they paid you, helping them realize that you're not going anywhere, that you're still there with them, even though they're all automatically sent. You were there with them. You took the time to write them these emails, and making sure that they also don't ask for a refund. If you're going to have a refund time frame of 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, whatever it is, you want to make sure that they're really successful with your course. Because depending on your refund policy, if they get in there and they just don't do it, or they realize, oh, this isn't for me, then you're going to end up owing a lot of money back in refunds, and obviously you want to reduce your refund price. So nurturing them, supporting them to be successful is the key to doing that. And it's important that you are continuing to engage with them. You do that through a pre-written email sequence during the course. And then, like we talked about, your follow-up sequence. Number 6, after you have all this done, then you can start the fun. So most people just jump to number 6 and they're like, oh yeah, hey, I'm going to market my event and I'm teaching it here. Don't do that. Make sure you have all this done to be successful. So it is very organized. It's a great consumer experience. You seem very professional and organized, and somebody's actually going to hire you again and give you a good testimony. So jumping into number 6, marketing your event and nurturing your audience. Nurturing your audience is the really big takeaway I want you to be aware of here. This is reaching out and building a relationship with your audience without selling them anything, not even your course, for a period of time before the marketing for your course starts. You cannot expect to hit a market, perhaps a new market, say you're in a new launch, and be out there and all of a sudden just say like, oh, guess what? I'm having this training. Pay me $100 and I'll see you there. People aren't going to buy that if they don't already have some sort of familiarity or a relationship with you or trust with you. So whatever it may be, whether it's in your social media or even simply running some Facebook ads to free content, I want you to make sure that you don't overlook nurturing your audience before you try to sell them something. It is incredibly hard to sell to a cold audience that has never ever seen you before. It's not impossible. I mean, people do it all the time, but it's a smaller percentage of your sales are going to come from what we call a cold audience. So make sure you give yourself time to nurture your audience and build your audience. And then number 7, host your event. This is, again, we're talking about live webinars here. So what it's going to look like is it is going to be preparing your webinar and recording it if you were recording it to be shown at a later date. So if you're hosting a live webinar like this one that you're on, it's going to be recorded to be shown again. Links to downloads, supplements, add-ons, anything else that you have, that would be, that number 2. Any other add-ons or downloads or anything else you want to give them, you're going to host your event, give them everything and all your awesomeness that you have planned, and have a great event. And then number 8, again, we have our call to action, any sort of fast action bonuses. Now let me talk about when this would apply. If your number 7, if your live event is a free event and you're using it to sell into a paid program, then you are going to want to have some fast action bonuses. And those are really awesome, amazing bonuses that you offer for those people that sign up right then and there when they're on your live event. So you're hosting the live event, you're giving them the information, you're saying for those people that sign up right now while we're still here on this webinar, you are going to get this thing, but only while we're on the webinar. Or you could extend your fast action bonus to, 24 hours out or 48 hours out or whatever you want to do. You can also do that if you aren't hosting a free event. So if your event isn't free, say somebody paid you for a class, then you still can do the call to action, let's say for your higher end service or program, and a fast action bonus of, if you would like to work with me and you'd like to get on my schedule and you want to have some scarcity, so make sure that you're not lying, but make sure you're saying, okay, and I only have availability for 3 more clients in the next 4 weeks, whatever it may be. So you're being honest about your limitations in your time. Then you will receive, whether it's a percentage off, but you have to register now. So those are the things I want you to be aware of in your call to action in number 8. Number 9 would be a live question and answer. If you have that, that would be in the event, offering on-screen chatting and support. You could also do it in a Facebook group or in one-on-one coaching. And then number 10, to recap, is your event follow-up. So that's your sales and your feedback, additional coaching, upsells to your next offer, wherever it may be. So these are your steps to launching live webinars. Now we are going to flip to this screen, and guess what? It is almost exactly the same. So when you see all these words on here, don't freak out, okay? I just wanted to make sure it was laid out there for you. It's the same thing. You're creating your class and your graphics, you're finishing your add-ons, you're uploading and testing your software, you're setting up your registration or your buy now page. If you have an evergreen webinar, so something to note about number 4, you can sell it all the time. It can always be open, and we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons, and I'm just going to honestly give you my insight on the two and what I've learned in 8 years of hosting webinars. The next one is, of course, you're pre-writing your email sequence that we talked about. Same exact thing here. Marketing your event. If you have an ongoing evergreen webinar, so like I have my program, Baby Planner University. It is an ongoing evergreen webinar for maternity industry, people that want to offer maternity consulting services. And my number one focus with that is new customer growth. With Evergreen Webinars, it is harder to drive in new customers if it's just open all the time, because people know it's always there and they'll say, oh, well, I'll join it next month. And so there are some things just to be mindful for. You can open and close Evergreen Webinars. You do not have to have them open all the time. Just because they're pre-recorded, you can just totally open and close them. You can say, okay, this is open for registration in January and July, whatever it may be. All the way down, everything else is the same. Number 7 is the difference. This is when you would just open or host your recorded event, versus number 7 in the live webinars is when you offer your live event. Everything else is the same. Okay? So let's kind of go ahead and just, maybe it's just me, take a deep breath and just think about everything we just went over. It's a lot of information, but really it's pretty basic. I just gave you all of the steps of everything you need to do in order to go from beginning to end of your webinars, whether you host them all the time and they're evergreen, or whether you are hosting a live event. So at this point in time, I want you to take a second and make sure that you have any notes written down here so that you know what you might want to consider and go back and look at, and just maybe even your first thoughts that come to mind based on your business and your availability and your timing. You know, which one do you think would be better for you? And now let me give you some other things that what I consider to be incredibly important that I want you to think about. What does your perfect workday look like? So in your perfect layout of your day or your week, how does it look like when you are serving clients the exact way that you would want it to be? What does your absolute perfect day, whether with clients or just in general, what does it look like? You know, when do you start your day? When do you take care of yourself? When do you take care of your kids? What does your service business look like within your perfect day? Because all of it affects each other. Your health and your family and everything else is going to affect your business model. And so when you're thinking about launching online courses, it's really important to figure out how they fit into getting you closer to that perfect ideal business model. So here's some things I want you to ask yourself. How many classes will you have? How many classes do you want to have? Do you want to have the majority of your services be offered in classes? How often will you offer your classes, whether they're live or recorded? Are some of your classes offered best live? So is some of the information that you're delivering, do you really need to be there live to do it? Are there things that you want to add or as far as taking breaks within the training and giving people an opportunity to ask questions? When will your ideal client attend an online class? You have to be thinking about who she is, when she wants to be there, and if it's 10 o'clock at night, then you're probably going to want to go towards more of that evergreen pre-recorded class. If your ideal client works 9 to 5 and you were part of her workday and what you do for her, then you're probably going to consider doing something live because she might want that interaction. Do you offer private coaching to your clients, and how can this fit into that? Would your clients prefer a group or a private class? How much are you going to charge for your class? And is your class going to be, or are any of your classes going to be a lead magnet and a freebie leading to other higher paid services? And then the biggest thing that I want you to ask yourself is, are classes going to be a primary component of your business model moving forward? Because if they are, then the development of your first class systems, you're actually developing a lot more than that. It's important that you are developing a platform that is going to work with you for some time to come. And so here are my tips from the trenches. I will tell you that, again, I started online courses in 2008 before they were even a thing, and I did it out of necessity because I needed to save time because my business was growing too fast, and I just recorded some group coaching calls that I did and did a PowerPoint presentation, and the next thing I knew, I had these really thriving online courses that I spent literally no time connecting together because I didn't have the time to do it, but they were incredibly successful and very profitable for me and my business. I didn't start out like that. I started out because I wanted the ease of use and I wanted the quality of life in my business, and I needed to save time. But I wanted to make sure I was delivering the same great information, and I wanted to make sure I was the one delivering it. So let me just kind of go over with you the pros and cons of each one. Totally honestly, no filter here about the difference between live and evergreen. Live class events take a lot more technology. You are dealing with timers and faster turnarounds as far as cart opens and cart closes. You need a stronger team. It is if you're doing a live class launch, you need to make sure that that's the primary thing that you're working on. I wouldn't try to fit it in with other things. They're incredibly tiring. They take much more promotion because that's it. It's now or never, so if somebody's going to come to not that you're not going to host the class again, but if you want somebody to come to the class that month or that quarter, you need to spend a lot of time and possibly money promoting that event. Live class launches require ample lead-in marketing. And that actually means that, going back to that nurturing your audience, making sure that, if you are having this very short window where they can join this live class, you have to make sure you have a relationship with them beforehand. And so I would say the minimum amount of time that you need to nurture a relationship before a live event is 6 weeks. 8 to 12 weeks is not too far off, especially if you don't have an established list. If you're just growing your list and your list is in the process of being built up, it's the more time that you can have with those people, proving to them that you are invested and that you're capable and great at helping them to solve whatever issues they may be having, the better chance you're going to have of them attending your live events and your paid events. These are obviously for paid events. Live classes can sell more with a sense of urgency, scarcity, and bonuses. So you definitely can sell, in my opinion, you can sell more money on live events than on evergreen events because there is this sense of urgency. Everybody wants in. It is now or never type of a thing. Live class launches let you organize your year and work on other projects. This is a big deal to me. So although they're very time consuming and exhausting, they are very worth it because, for example, for me, I know my year is laid out. I know exactly when I'm having live class events, and that means I know exactly what I'm doing 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and 6 weeks before that event. So those areas are totally blocked off on my calendar for all of 2017, 18, the next years. That's how I plan my year. So when you have a live class launch or what we call like a cart open for a program, a cart close, if you're trying to sell them, if you're doing a free webinar and trying to sell them into a bigger program, your year there, looks like in advance. But then let's talk about evergreens, because evergreen has a lot of bonuses. Evergreen classes are easier to launch and manage for sure. Evergreen classes are more tech friendly. You can go through, you can record your webinars and nobody's on them. You can go back and you can edit when your child started crying or your dog snores, like my dog snores all the time. And you have an opportunity to go back and make it really awesome, especially with your first class, so that you feel comfortable with the products you're putting out there. It is not like Facebook Live. You have an opportunity to go back and edit it. And the nice part is then you also have an opportunity to test out the tech and make sure it's working right. Versus a live event, so many things that can come up that can go wrong. Your internet can go out and so many different things. The next thing, Evergreen Classes allow clients more time freedom. They give your clients, so this is really about knowing your client. What does she want? They give her more of an opportunity to log on to the courses whenever she has an opportunity to. She doesn't have to show up to this live event. But they're harder to keep your sales going and your sales surging. You have to constantly be doing something to re-energize courses that are out there all the time. And whether it's a giveaway, you're always constantly trying to generate new leads, and you're trying to turn cold traffic into warm traffic. So Evergreen Classes, they are harder to keep going. You can do different type of fast action bonuses even with Evergreen Classes that are there all the time, and kind of do a resurge and a relaunch. You could put it on sale every once in a while. But I just want you to be aware of the fact that it's, as far as financially, it's just a different layout. It is very nice though, knowing you have a product to sell all the time. And if you take the time and set up your funnel, so that means if you set up your lead magnet that leads to your Evergreen class, and maybe a first entry level program if you have one of those, or a free training, and then down into your Evergreen courses or membership site, if you set up your funnel and you put it on autopilot, so you have Facebook ads running or anything else to bring in new leads for that class, then as long as you take the time to set that up, then you're going to be great. But you can't just have it sitting out there with no marketing towards it. You have to have a thoughtful funnel, funneling people into that program. And Evergreen Classes, in my opinion, because I've been doing this for so long, they're really great to combine with private coaching. So if you have a private coaching business and you have so much information to give, and it doesn't even come down to money, you just don't have the time to sit with one client and tell them the same thing that you're telling all the other 50 clients that might want it, then coming up with Evergreen Classes are a perfect way to say, okay, here we are in our one-on-one meeting. Here's your homework. I adore you. This is what you need to do. And then assigning them to go and watch your trainings that you've already done. It's better for them and it's better for you. It doesn't even matter if they aren't paying you for that time of coaching. You want your clients to succeed and you want them to have the information. So it's much better to have other pre-recorded classes of, again, the same content that you deliver that you've delivered over and over again, so that they have a chance to access it. So those are my 2 cents on classes on Evergreen versus live while you guys are going through it. So now it's really your time. It's time to make a decision as far as with this first course that we're talking about. Are you going to do it live? Are you going to do it Evergreen? You can do both. Again, you can do maybe a live free webinar or questions and answers that lead into some pre-recorded membership sites. Whatever it may be, you have to make a decision to move forward. But we're not done. So there are some more things we need to talk about here, which I know that you are interested in, and I promised you we would go over. I will tell you that I am not a technology expert, but I am going to teach you everything I've learned about different types of technology for you to choose how to lay out your courses, and I'm going to give you resources as far as what you can look at. And based on the decisions that you make. I will equip you with the right questions to ask yourself, as you see here, in order to make the decisions to find the best software. So these are all the things I want, and I don't expect you to answer them in your mind right now, which is why you have the slides from this presentation so you can come back to them. These are the questions that you have to answer for yourself before moving on to software. Obviously, are you going to be hosting live webinars? There are limited software, well, I shouldn't even say limited, it's exploding all the time. There's certain software that's designed for live webinars and others are not. Do you want to record your webinars for your attendees to listen to later? Some live webinar software will not let you record, you guys. So even though you might see it on there and it's a great price and it's a great deal, if you have any intention of recording your webinar, please make sure that you find out if the live software lets you record it. Are you recording your webinar to sell at a later date to other people? So the difference here is, do you want to send your recording to people who attended so that they can go back and listen? Or do you want to then record it so you can sell it as another product later? So there really isn't any difference except for the fact that some software will actually save your whole entire training as a new program. Are you willing to learn the basics of the software that you bought? If you are not, if you are interested in hiring somebody to put together your software for you, that is great. If you're the one that is learning the software and you need to figure it out on your own, make sure that you take into consideration a learning curve and whether or not that software is too difficult to figure it out. Are you willing to learn beyond the basic functionalities of the software to customize it? Some software requires customization. Are you willing to hire software help, or is it a solo gig? We talked about that. Will you be selling on your webinar? This is a really big thing. So, for example, if you have a product that you want to offer and you're doing a live webinar and you have a product you're trying to sell, or you're doing a live class and you say, if you'd like to work with me, click this link right here. Now is the time, and that's when you could add in your fast action bonus. It'll be 30% off this package or whatever you choose to offer, but click it right here. And that right here is a link within their screen. They see it. Otherwise, they have to remember the URL, open up a new tab, go to that new tab, type it in, find it, register. People are lazy. They will not work to give you money unless it's something they really, really, really want, which hopefully it is. But just be mindful of that. So if you want to sell on your webinar into another program, some webinar platforms let you do that. Some of them don't. Do you want the webinar platform to manage your registrations or just deliver it? That's also a difference. Some platforms will actually take in the money and be the shopping cart and all of it, just do all the action, just all the bells and whistles. Other webinar software just delivers the webinar, whether it's live or evergreen. So you have to answer all these questions. Do yourself a favor. Answer all these questions before you even start looking into software. It will save you a ton of time and a ton of money. And then will your webinars be free or paid? You need to know that because you need to know whether or not you need to have a shopping cart with your software. Here are some different examples of live webinar software. Again, you have to ask yourself, will you be selling on your webinar, and do you want to record your live webinar? GoToMeeting, that is the software that this webinar is being hosted in. And this is not an exhaustive list. I will say this list is growing all the time. So make sure you do your research and you keep finding what's out there. GoToMeeting, it's a great tool and it's a trusted tool, but the most important thing for me is I know how to use it. That is a really, really big deal for me. I took the time, I learned it, I know how to use it, and I don't care if something else is cheaper or has more bells and whistles. There's so much for me to be said for the fact that I can just get in here and I can host a webinar. It's incredibly important. And so definitely take that into consideration. Google Hangouts, I've heard great things about Google Hangouts other than the fact that it kind of crashes a lot, but a lot of people love Google Hangouts. Webinars on Air, that is in Expertise TV. Those are two new software. I have not tried either. Well, I should take that back. I've not tested webinars on air. Expertise TV I have started to test, and it looks really, really cool right now as of the time of this recording, and has, from what I can see, a great registration system, email reminder system. It does not, however, have a great tutorial, so there is going to be a learning curve there, but that's something that I hope to play with more in the upcoming year. Skype, you can certainly host trainings through Skype. WebEx, WebEx is the old recording system I used to use. It is definitely not the tip of the sword here, but it is another option for you to host webinars. Zoom, Join Me, and Adobe Connect. So here are some things, some different software that you might want to check out and see how they fit into what you are looking to accomplish. Evergreen software options. Now, this is, of course, a little overwhelming when you look at this. And so I just want you to focus in on the two top categories. We have packaged software and we have pieced software. So there is a difference, and there is a difference in some aspects in price too. Let me tell you what they mean, and here's some examples. Packaged software is the new Kajabi. If you've ever been through any of my online courses, I use the new Kajabi. Thinkific and Teachable, those are packaged software options, and that means that this software is an all-in-one. It does everything from taking the payment to tracking the registration, who is registered for what courses. They even have even more options. Some of them host the videos for you. They have different membership levels or expiration dates. They manage payment plans. They have built-in landing pages. So that would just be like the same thing as paying for that lead page account that we talked about a few minutes ago, that landing lead page registration. Some of the package software has their own landing pages, and they do a great job of that. They can do email broadcasting. They can manage your affiliate programs for other people to sell your courses and get percentages for that. And they're really, really, really easy for beginners. I love them because they're easy for beginners. Package software usually comes with a price. And honestly, there are some downfalls. Not all package software fits into your established website. So use mine as an example. If you go to aprilbeach.com and you click over to my online courses, you'll notice that you're redirected to a new website. My online courses are hosted in a separate website. They're built out and you can access them from my main page, but they are separate. And so it's not integrated within my own site. I don't host it. I am totally fine with that. I love that it works for me because it's super simple, and I love that once my clients get in there, they have a really amazing, seamless consumer experience. Now, pieced software is also a really great option though, and I have used pieced software. I used pieced software for 7 out of 8 years. Pieced software is like Wishlist Member, Zippy Courses, and Woo Membership. I've used both Wishlist Member and Woo Membership, and had great experience with one and not great experience with the other. And I won't get into my specifics with you, but I will just say that pieced software enables you to build your courses within your own website. And there are definitely pros and benefits to that. You can do seamless branding. So your page where they would register or watch your webinars or attend your webinars is designed exactly like the rest of your website. It is a seamless branding layout, and it's just really beautiful. And so there are definitely benefits to that. Usually pieced software is going to use an external video hosting, which means that if you're having pre-recorded videos, you're going to need to upload them to Vimeo or YouTube and then embed them into your site. You don't want videos in your own website because it'll slow it down. Most sites won't even manage that. And so your videos are not necessarily hosted within your website, so just be aware that you're going to have to do some copying and pasting and embedding for where you want your videos to be. You will also most likely have an external shopping cart and an external email marketing platform. So you're kind of seeing that there are all these different software pieces that are pieced together. And I mean, there are, again, a lot of benefits to that. There are different software systems that have like an all-in-one WordPress plugin that can do it all for you. Wishlist Member, if you're going with a piece software, is the one I would recommend. But that's only because I've never used Zippy courses, but I have heard great things about that. The only thing I want you to be aware of with piece software is that it might require you having a web designer, and it will require some tech support. So whether or not you know how to do your own web design or any sort of technical support, you can get in there and start connecting and working on building it yourself, but there will probably become a time, if you're just a regular entrepreneur and you aren't in the tech industry like I am, that you're going to have to hire out help. So the deal is that you can actually save money going with pieced software as you could over packaged software if you choose the right pieces. And you can customize it more, again, because it's built in your own site. But again, the downfall is that there are a lot of moving parts to pieced software. And you have to also take into consideration the possibility of needing to hire the web designer and tech support when you're thinking about how much money you're saving. So again, here are those examples, and this is primarily for evergreen software options. Okay? All right. Now, I promised you we'd talk a little bit about just kind of like a bonus training here about membership sites and coaching. And so I just want to speak to this because I think that this applies to a lot of you, or if you haven't thought about it yet, you will think about it. And so I want to make sure you have this information. A membership site is a site where, people create an account and they're billed however you set it up, one time, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever it is, and they usually have access to multiple evergreen courses. So they can log in there anytime. So in your business, if you have 5 lessons that you want every single new client to go through, then it is incredibly important that you consider this as an option. I do like a perfect example of this was I was working with a sleep consultant in the beginning of this year, and she has this information that she wants every single client to go through, and it was taking her so much time to deliver it again and again and again. She even had it in a huge PDF book. It was like a 68-page crazy information book. Nobody was going to read that book. I mean, it was exhausting just getting it, and they didn't want to download it or print it out. And so the idea that she was turning all this information into classes. And so every single client that works with her just gets access to this membership site. It comes with working with her. And it saves her so much time, so much money, and increases her sales because she has actually an opportunity to take on more clients that hire her for her premium services, and this is just information that she kind of builds back into her price, and they just get it for free. So just be playing with that as you're thinking about your business and what it is that you're offering. Membership sites can be a great way to do that. What it would be, having these pre-recorded evergreen webinars, multiple ones where people can choose from and access anytime, and they can get the information. Membership sites can also grant access to free webinars. So if you want to create a membership site that is totally unpaid and it gives somebody, like a VIP, but they haven't paid for it, it's a great way to develop another sort of lead magnet. Membership sites are usually billed monthly to clients. So if you do have a paid membership site, that's just kind of the standard. I just wanted to share that with you, industry standard. You can sell them for a year in advance for a certain discount, if you'd like to consider that as well. And this is a great opportunity for those of you that are considering adding any sort of evergreen courses to your private coaching packages. So if you only have one course you're launching now, there's no reason to, launch an entire membership site right now. Wait until you have a suite of classes that you can offer, and then turn it into a membership site for your clients. And, when you're going through the one-on-one with your clients and you're coaching them, I just always want you to be thinking about how you can duplicate yourself. So What are the same things that you say to all of your new clients or established clients over and over and over again? Those are the things that you would want to throw into a membership site. Again, it's better for them and it's better for your business model if you're looking to have that 20-hour work week, time freedom business model. That's something I really want you to think about and consider. And you can just make a list of them and then start turning those into little courses when you can. Okay. So going back through everything again, I want you to answer all of the questions that you need to address for your business, your model, whether it's live or evergreen, and ask yourself all of the questions about what you're willing and able to do when it comes to software. At which point in time, then you can go start looking at software and researching it. Please don't waste hundreds of hours searching around on every single webinar software that's out there without answering those questions. And that is a waste of time. That's why you're in this training, so you can avoid doing that. So figure out how you want it to function. Now, there's a chance based on your price, you're not going to get everything you want, and you might have to make some compromises. But know what you want first before you go looking. And I just love this quote. Elon Musk is the founder of Tesla Motors, and I just felt like this was so perfect when we're talking about all these moving parts. He says, if you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. And that's exactly what it comes to when you are building your webinar software and when you're considering thinking about launching online courses. There is a certain mix that you have to get down before you can bake it. And I want to make sure that this training is giving you the information to know what to put in your mix. All right, so this is what you guys are going to do next. You are going to definitely take action. You are going to download this presentation if you haven't yet, and it's going to be your guide. These are your notes, your training notes. If you haven't yet, you're going to finish your course creation. If you have not done that, or if you've done that and you want to do any sort of add-ons or freebies, whatever it is, downloads, anything else that goes with your course, that's going to be the next step you're going to do. You're going to determine your delivery method and your business model. So what percentage of your coaching do you want to be in online courses? Decide if you'll charge for your course. Will you have a membership site or simply offer a la carte webinars? If you feel like you want to go more towards that membership site, make sure that you're considering that when you're out there shopping for online course software. Make sure that if that's where you want to go, that you are purchasing software options that are going to get you there. So every time you record a training, you can just kind of add it in there and you're just filling your course's pot. Research your software based on everything we talked about above. You're going to then purchase your software, integrate it into your website or install it, whether you have a separate package software like I do, or if it's pieced software that's going to go on your website. You are going to practice it and learn it. Seriously, please take the time to do that. Then you're going to upload your webinar and your content, you're going to test it. Even if you're doing a live webinar, please make sure you take the time to test it, upload your presentation to it, and practice. And then, of course, you can incorporate additional software if needed after this. That would be adding Leadpages, or if you do not have an email marketing manager, I should have put that at the top of the list. I'm assuming and guessing that you do, but please make sure you have an email marketing manager like MailChimp or Entreport or some other software that is managing your emails to your clients. So these are your steps. This is what you guys are going to do right now. So I know I gave you a lot of information, but I want to make sure we're kind of like drilling it down to this is what I want you to focus on first, second, third, and so on. And don't make perfect the enemy. This means that, and I know I'm speaking to so many of you guys out there, including myself. You can always add on to a course. You will be there forever and ever making it perfect. Sometimes you just have to launch it. And then you can build on making it better and better and better. Don't make perfect the enemy means Don't not launch. Don't not do what you're going to do because it's not perfect. You will make perfect the enemy of what you're trying to accomplish. So please do not do that. Obviously, you want to have a great program. You want to have a great course out there. But especially, being a woman in business, we can sit there all day long and move a line or change a font or whatever it is, or change wording. Don't do that. You will never get off the ground if you do that. There has to be a time when you're like, okay, screw it. We're just going to jump. I know I put my heart into this. I'm doing the best I can. I'll continue to make it better. Let's go. And so that's what I want to make sure that you are focusing on when you are developing your curriculum. And so download this presentation, and if you are not yet in my Facebook community, you can find it by going to aprilbeach.com, and there'll be a link to the community. And this, I'm sure, will be a major discussion over the next couple of months to come, because so many businesses are going to online courses. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for being here. This presentation has been pre-recorded, and you can find me at aprilbeach.com. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me at info@aprilbeach.com, and I will make sure that you are taken care of.